Really, really good chat. Gary had just done a set down at the Powwow Room. It was absolutely packed out. We had to stop letting people in. Gary absolutely smashed it, as I have seen him do on every time I've seen him on stage, actually. I met Gary at a show a couple of weeks back, the Dope As show, the Saturday one, and Gary was on the lineup. Was first. Well, there was 2 shows that night, so a 6 and 8 o'clock show. Gary was first on in the 6 o'clock show. Did 6 minutes. Did really, really good. Left. Went to Cavern Club. Did his hour show. Bald Man Sings Rihanna. And came back for the first spot in the second half and smashed that again. And I was just like, this dude's doing it for real. He's out here doing fucking 4 sets, 3 sets in a night, 1 hour show, all sandwiched together. You know, that's how you do it. The conversation we talked about, obviously how Gary started in comedy, how he's ended up out here, and the story of he's actually just came here to do the festival, and now he's, you know, stuck here because of lockdown, and how he's making the best of that situation. Gary is an extremely funny comedian, and if you're listening to this, Gary's probably going to be in a town near you, so I'm going to plug the fuck out of his dates. On the 23rd of July, he's in the Little Andromeda Theatre in Christchurch on the 23rd, and on Oamura Grainstore Gallery, he's there on the 17th of July. In Dunedin, he's there on the 25th of July. He's doing the Wellington Comedy Club on the 30th of July, and the Classic up in Auckland on the 4th and 8th of August. So if you can get to see Gary, go and see him. Just a bit of admin before we start the podcast. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel SBG Comedy, and like me on Facebook, SBG Comedy. Yep, and that's it, guys. Enjoy. Yeah, we're going. We're live.
Yeah. Are we live?
Well, you know.
Well,
now.
recording as live.
We're recording as live. We're live recording.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. You look like you're filming a terrorist video with that beard there.
Yeah. But people say that a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. Well, I do. When it grows out, it does get quite terroristy.
And the lighting in this room.
It does. It's not doing anything for me. Yeah, that picture you took earlier on, like, it does look like you're being kidnapped a little bit.
Yeah. Could well be.
Is that why you wanted the Wi-Fi password? You're like, here, I need to let everyone know where I am.
Yeah.
Turn your location on. Take a picture.
This address.
You're like, how old are you, Shannon? 32, Irish man. Yeah, where are you from in Ireland?
Yeah. Better make sure I'm safe. Yeah.
You're safe.
I'm a long way from home, so
you're safe. Yeah. So you are a long way from home. I know why.
Are you, to be fair.
Well, I am. I ended up here kind of by accident.
Right.
We decided to go backpacking. And we said we'll do 6 months. And when we're out this side of the world, we might as well do a year in Australia or New Zealand. I always had the fantasy of going to New Zealand because of Lord of the Rings.
Right.
And that's as much thought as I put into it.
Yeah.
And then we ended up traveling for 9 months in Southeast Asia.
Right.
And we had like a week before New Zealand visa ran out before we could get into the country.
Right.
And we had 2 mates that were here and just went, yeah, that sounds good. And we ended up here. And that was like 18 months ago.
All right.
So we're loving it here. I'm loving it. Well, it's much more laid back.
What are you doing here?
It's weird. I don't really have a clue what I'm doing. My job title started as like data entry, and I've kind of progressed to an auditor.
Oh, you're a comedian, though, right?
I'm a comedian. Yeah. Starting. I'm getting paid a little bit now, so it's you know, like she makes the money, and I have hobbies. You know, I'm the trophy husband.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It worked out really well. How did you end up out? I know how you ended up in New Zealand, but I don't want to go to that just yet. How did you end up like in Australia?
In Australia, I came to do the festivals. Same reason as in New Zealand, really. So I went to do the Perth Fringe and the Adelaide Fringe.
Okay.
And then the next plan was to come here and do the New Zealand Fringes, which I'd done.
Okay.
Well,
so
one of them got cancelled.
You're not based in Australia?
I used to be. Probably, I think it does still say on my Facebook that I live in Sydney.
Okay, so
that may confuse you.
Facebook has let me down.
I've never updated that.
I was trying to be a little bit professional and do some research.
Yeah.
So it's like, how did he end up in Sydney? It's like, nah.
Well, I did live in Sydney for a while.
Okay.
So I went there for a proper job and then left it because comedy kicked off and got lots of work out there. And the job wasn't great, and yeah, it was the best thing that ever happened, actually, to be honest.
Okay, so when did you go to Australia?
2013, I arrived on Anzac Day, which I don't know if you've experienced.
Yeah,
yet,
yeah,
but
yeah,
It's the
yeah.
big, like, I don't know, VA Day, basically. Here,
Yeah.
It's their big celebration of the war. And like, I arrived on Anzac Day, and like people were all drinking in the pub at 10 a.m. So I was like, yes, this is the place for
This
me.
feels like home.
Yeah, this feels great. Yeah, so there's big, massive parades around Sydney and stuff. So it's quite a fun day to arrive.
Yeah,
That.
they do it a little bit different here. It's normally like they get up at dawn here.
Right.
And I've never been up for it. I've seen 2 of them. All I know is have a day
Well,
off.
I arrived at 6 a.m. So I saw everything. So
And
it was,
what was the job?
so I was working in media,
Oh yeah.
putting adverts on TVs like that, basically. So I was working for KFC at the time.
Oh yeah.
I was working for a company called Mediacom, but the main client was KFC. So we used to advertise KFC on TV.
So were you like
And
in the sales department or?
everyone says that. Like, I don't know why people say that. I literally just said I was buying adverts. You always say that I used to buy adverts, and everyone, I just think it's funny. Everyone always says, "So you were in the sales department," but I wasn't selling the adverts. I was buying the adverts. But every time you say that to someone, I was buying them. I don't know why this is going to be interesting to anyone on a comedy podcast, but this is what
I'm feeling some venom in that question though.
No, but that's what always. It's just it's funny because like you always say like because people don't tend to realize this is even a job that people do.
Yeah.
But you always say, "Oh, I buy advertising on TV." So my job is to buy adverts off the TV stations. So that's why I said I buy the adverts, and then everyone always says, "So you sell the adverts?" When I've literally just said I buy the adverts.
So you're in procurement. Kind of.
Well, I guess if procurement means buying things.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, KFC would come and give us like money, and then we would be like, "Oh, can we have adverts on Channel 9 and Channel 10?" And they would put adverts on Big Brother or all these type of things.
Oh, cool. Was it cool?
It's a good job.
Yeah.
It's a good job. Like, there's a lot of free booze and going out. It's a good culture of.
Like it really sounds like a sales job. Like you said, there's a good culture of free booze. That sounds like sales.
Yeah, but you're not selling anything. You're buying things. I mean, like any job, you're selling yourself to your client, I guess, by like you have a product that you sell, which is your job of buying advertising.
Yeah, well, did it help you with comedy at all?
It did actually, because they gave me, in the job I had, they had like a scheme where they gave people like a couple £100 to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I tried to buy drugs and that didn't go very well. So the next thing was.
How was that going to help KFC?
Nah, this was in London, mate. I started comedy in London, so the reason I did comedy was because I got like a couple £100. You could go and do whatever you wanted, and I went and did a comedy course for a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, did the big showcase gig or whatever, which is great. And yeah, after that, just loved it and just kept going.
So you started in the comedy, you did a comedy school or comedy?
I did a comedy course.
Effectively
the same thing.
Yeah.
But not the one here, obviously.
Not the one here. Yeah. What was your like thinking behind like a comedy course? That's obviously you were big into comedy, right? You're big into stand up.
Not massively. I was
No?
always a fan. I was never like an obsessive. So you
Okay.
get people who watch like everything, and even now I don't like watch lots of stuff on Netflix or anything.
Yeah.
I watch the odd thing here and there, and I should maybe watch more, but it's not really something because I do comedy like most nights of the week or a good percentage of the week. I don't think, when I'm sitting at home, I want to watch comedy because it's just like working basically.
Yeah.
In some ways, even though you don't often gig with Dave Chappelle or whatever.
No, I find it I probably watch comedy less now. The more I'm doing comedy, because sometimes I think when I'm in the middle of like writing or working on new material, you kind of like you almost don't want to take on the voice of the person you're seeing.
Yeah.
You know, I have had to stop listening to a podcast I listen to. Like I have to stop listening to it because I'd end up writing like the person I was listening to.
Yeah, a lot of people do say that. Yeah, Paul Merton says that quite famously. That he doesn't like to watch comedy because he feels like he'll just start taking the thoughts or whatever. So he tries to avoid it.
Like I put off watching Dave Chappelle the one that came out last year, Sticks and Stones, for a couple of weeks.
So you're going to come out and start talking like Dave Chappelle? That would
no.
be
But I was like, I can't watch it because it would put me off doing stand up. Like, because I couldn't get in the, I couldn't get in the mind frame of going up on stage after watching one of those. It's hard for me sometimes, especially something that good,
Mm-hmm.
to go out again.
So I guess it's similar after watching me earlier. Then,
It's I never liked following you.
yeah, yeah, fair enough. I don't think you have ever followed me. We only gigged together once, and you were on.
Well, we
later
did
on.
2 gigs that night. I didn't follow you. I was on.
All right, I remember you. From
You-
the
I-
Monday
you
night.
were
I didn't
on,
even remember you were on the Saturday, but yeah.
I was on the Saturday, so I went on. You weren't there, because you were up first, and I went on. I did cherry spot after the break, and
Yeah.
I didn't do too good. I didn't do too good. I kind of lost my material in the middle of my set,
Yeah.
and I remembered it, but I didn't bring the crowd back on board and just went straight back to the material.
Right.
And they were like, "What the fuck's happening?" And I was just like, "Oh, I really need to get off stage now."
Yeah.
And I finished. It was okay,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't feel great. And
It was
then
an early show as well. So
it was
like
the early
6 o'clock,
show.
so
Yeah, it was.
they were slightly quiet maybe, but
I think it was the first time I performed comedy so early as well. It was like 6:30,
right.
and
If you go to Edinburgh, you'll be doing shows at 10 a.m.
if that show is anything to go by, I don't think I'll do.
Nah, you
don't think
definitely
I'll-
Edinburgh. You can do a gig at any time. At 10 a.m. there's a few gigs or whatever, but not ideal. But you get shows that are like 2 o'clock can be really good. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
You're like the last guy I had on, Michael. We spoke about his Edinburgh show.
He's done an Edinburgh show.
He won the Bex Award in 2001.
The Bex Award.
Yeah,
that's
so-
gone through, that's gone through some sponsors. Which award is that?
It's the best of the free fringe newcomer.
Right.
Yeah, he won it the same year as Ayoade, and I always forget his name. You know Darth Marenghi's Dark Castle, or Garth
Yeah,
Marenghi's Dark
yeah.
Castle. That was a stage show at Fringe, and that won the Perrier Award, and he won the best of the newcomer,
The best.
best newcomer of the free Fringe the same year.
Best new. I don't. Did he win the best newcomer? Because there isn't a best newcomer.
I
at Free Fringe.
I don't know exactly. I
Yeah.
can't remember. There was 2 awards up, and he won one of them.
Alright.
And then he stopped doing comedy for 20 years.
And now he's back.
Now he's back.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It was interesting to see, and he said something that I actually resonated with, and because I was like, how would you do something like that and then just stop? And he said, well, in his head, he did it.
Right.
He wanted to do Fringe. He went to the Fringe. He says the award was of no consequence. He's like, look, it was lucky we got. It was pure luck we got it.
Right.
But it was really easy to give it up because at that time in his life, he just wanted to do the Edinburgh, and he did it, and it went really well. And it's like it was really easy to give up.
Right.
But now he's gotten the bug again, like 20 years later.
Right. Okay. He's came back after comedies became oversaturated.
Yeah, he's
Came
like,
back
you
at the
know
wrong
what?
time.
I could.
Although maybe not so much anymore because everyone's dodgy now, so they're all.
Everyone's either not doing comedy or not allowed to do comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, staying well clear of that.
Let's steer clear of that.
Stay clear of that. Okay. So, about the comedy course. Well, before I was doing comedy, before I did the comedy school,
Yeah.
and I was kind of in 2 minds about it because I was like, oh, you don't learn comedy out of school. How could you do that?
Yeah.
And then I did it, and I went, oh no, like everyone should do this,
Mhm.
you know, because there's a lot of things that aren't explained that you can learn, obviously,
Yeah.
but
I think the reason I did the best thing about the course was giving me the confidence to go on stage, whereas I wouldn't have done it otherwise. I don't think, or it would have been a lot harder to do. So
yeah,
it gave me a bit of like material that I'd thought of and confidence to go on stage. But that's all it can really give you.
yeah,
There are other courses that are well thought of that I think that they maybe push you more in terms of giving you ideas. But I think you really just have to go out and do it.
yeah. I think for me it gave me the basic framework,
Mm-hmm.
and then built up my understanding of like the structure of writing a joke.
Yeah, my course didn't really do that massively. They didn't. No, they didn't really concentrate on that at all. They gave you they didn't really go much into like joke technique and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, because I think I just kind of naturally wrote jokes in the techniques without knowing them.
Without knowing, yeah.
So yeah, maybe I think it didn't help me become a great writer because I'm still writing isn't a thing. I'm mainly about performance, crowd work, etc.
So do you write much?
Nah, not enough. I mean, I've had an hour show. I've been doing it for the last 4 or 5 years. So,
Okay.
but there's different bits. It's evolved over the years. And
Yeah.
there's like, I don't know, maybe there's in it from the first year. There's probably like 10 minutes or 50 minutes of different stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do write, and I do have new jokes that come in every year. But because I've found Bald Man Sings Rihanna, which is a show that brings people in every year in Edinburgh, and it fills out the room. I haven't had and I had a full-time job, where I don't at the moment, so that's why I'm starting to write this new show. Cause
Right.
I've got more time on my hands.
Yeah.
And I can dedicate more time to it. But I could go to Edinburgh and have a full room and make money and have a really good time.
Yeah.
Whereas it's definitely a full-time job to turn over an hour every
To turn
year.
over the hour, and
I just I still enjoy doing the show. So
yeah, like the whole turning over a new hour every year. Like I find that very difficult to do, or difficult to think of doing. Like a lot of the American comedians will turn out a new hour, or a lot of the top comics.
Yeah, they don't necessarily do it every year. Maybe
No.
every few years.
Yeah.
Whereas in Edinburgh, people will be writing hours every year, but a lot of them won't be as good as the last one. So
Yeah, and I think that's.
But that's the challenge, isn't it? And it's like there's people like Andrew Maxwell, I think, who's done Edinburgh for like 20 years, Irish guy.
Yeah.
And he's really good, and he consistently produces a great hour every year. So it's definitely possible to do. It's definitely possible, but it's a lot of hard work.
It's a lot of
confidence, and
I suppose the more you do, the more you write a new hour, the quicker you get to go. Oh, identifying this is a bit, this is a chunk, this will work, and you get more efficient at knowing how to build the hour. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Which is I have to move on to the next one kind of thing, and which should be fun.
So, you're not in Australia. You're where are you? You're based.
I was based in London.
You're based in London. Okay.
Not anymore.
Not
I
anymore.
left London, so
Okay.
I'm currently based in New Zealand now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just travelling at the moment. I left full-time job last year to now do comedy full-time, which has brought me here.
Yeah.
So yeah, last year I was I had a job, but I was also gigging 3-4 times a week, and which was great. And so basically was full-time in comedy anyway, but I had another job which helped.
Which yeah.
But
Yeah.
now.
Well,
comedy
you've been really busy the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've been really busy for 10 years, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've always been doing consistently better things and moving up the ladder and getting better and doing Edinburgh and stuff. So,
and you were in Canada and States as well, weren't you?
yeah, I've gigged in New York at Caroline's and all most of the clubs there. Only one's really the Comedy Cellar I haven't done.
What's New York like? Just I know that's a very broad question, but like in terms of like the comedy scene,
Not
like
great at the moment, I don't think.
No. Probably not the spot to be at the moment, but
yeah.
It's definitely somewhere I want to go, and is it as intimidating as it seems as a comedian to go over to New York? Is it like, are the crowds at a higher level there, like in terms of what they expect out of?
No, not at all.
no.
The crowds are great, really good. So the clubs, I think the UK for me is the hardest place to gig, but maybe that's because that's where I'm from. But I think it's the audiences are really comedy savvy, really used to it, and kind of expectant. And a lot of the UK gigs are also been built around this kind of drinking culture.
Yeah.
Over the years, I think it's moved on from that somewhat at the moment, but in America, it's not like that.
It's not like that.
It's not. People go to a comedy club expecting it's going to be good, and they respect that it's they don't go to get. This is based on New York and in LA, and I wouldn't say I was an expert on the rest of the country.
Yeah.
But no, I think the audiences are better there.
Okay. Well, there's a different culture there. I think. I had a couple of people like from the UK come to see one of my shows, and they were hammered when they turned up. And I was like, "Oh, you don't need to be hammered to turn up for a comedy show. Like you just have 2 or 3 beers while you're there. You know, it's fine. It's not like a big night out. It's like let's get fucked up. Let's pre-drink before the comedy show. It makes it funnier. You know.
But I mean, I've done a lot more gigs in the UK, to be fair, and
Yeah.
a lot of them are great. So the crowds are great in the UK as well. So, but yeah, I didn't think it certainly wasn't harder there. The crowds are good there.
Yeah.
Even though they're used to a really, really high standard. So,
Yeah.
but the gigs I did were pretty good, and yeah, it's a good. It's very, very hard to make money there and do well there because the people who are gigging there are the best.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many big acts there that are like Louis C.K. coming to do spots, and maybe not him so much now, but people of that ilk can be coming to drop in and do gigs. So it's hard to get spots.
It's hard to get.
There are so many acts. So even London, and so many gigs as well. There are so many comedians in New York. It's ridiculous. That it's basically like an Edinburgh festival every day of the year.
Every day,
in terms of like there are like countless shows, like open mics. There's 19 comedy clubs. It's like nearly 20 actual comedy clubs.
Yeah.
And they run like 3-4 shows every single night.
Every single night.
And then there'll be open mics that are running all over the place,
All
like from 3 o'clock in the afternoon, not with any audience or whatever, but just running.
Oh.
So it's really hard to get gigs there because your reputation from anywhere doesn't really matter.
Okay.
So I know that people have gone over there after winning awards in Edinburgh, and it's took them years to establish themselves there. But if you keep going at it, I guess you can make it. But it takes time.
You can make. I watched. Do you know Tommy Tiernan, Irish comic?
Yep.
He had a show, I think, of him trying to break America.
Yeah.
And it was really. I remember, like, I think it was in my teens and it was on. And I thought it was really strange because he was everywhere. You go to an Extra Vision or anywhere, his DVDs were everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like really well known. And he was on the late shows and an Irish celebrity. And then you see him doing a show in the States, and there's like 4 people there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't know who he like. I know you don't know who he is, but you think just the promoters like, oh yeah, this guy's got some clout and he's doing like.
I mean, you imagine he would do well in places like New York because he's got a following. There's a big Irish community in New York.
Yeah, I think eventually, like, it was just some of the shows he was doing were like, you know, cafe open mics and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it was so strange to see that how you can sell out a place to 2,000 people and then.
Yeah, I mean, I gig with some people in New York who are like big or pretty successful.
Yeah. Drop some names. Go on.
So I mean, Paul Mercurio is not particularly famous, but when I was there, he was and he probably still does it. He's the warm-up guy for the Colbert Show.
Oh yeah.
So that's a great job to do. Really fun thing to do. And then I've gigged with him in like smaller venues than I was in tonight, like in front of like in a terrible situations, like really crap gigs or whatever. And they're just there because they want to try stuff out and that. So.
Yeah. That's. Have you seen the Seinfeld documentary?
I haven't seen it. I started watching it. I never quite got through it, but yeah.
It's a good watch.
Yeah,
it is a good watch. I'm not like a big fan of Seinfeld in terms of like I don't find it special.
Yeah.
You might hear some background noise there. Someone's fucking about in the flat.
Right.
But like, I do respect his work rate.
Yeah.
And the way he speaks about comedy, like you can see why he became one of the biggest guys, obviously.
Yeah.
Like I think he says like he writes like 5-6 hours a day.
Right. Yeah. He used to treat it like a job, and obviously it's a job, but he used to treat it very professionally, and I'm sure he still does. And he like sit down and write every day, which 5-6 hours a day I think is more than most people would do.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot, but you need to be. The more you put into comedy, either through doing gigs or writing, the more you're going to get out of it. So
yeah,
you should be writing a few hours a day. If you want to turn over an hours, I'm in a comfortable position where I have material and I can go out and get gigs and do well.
Yeah, yeah.
But if I want to do a new show, I need to like write a lot
more. Yeah.
And the more you write, the better you get, and the better jokes you write. It should do. So
I don't know, man. I don't know. Sometimes the more I write, the worse it gets.
Well, you might hit along with that, but you just have to keep throwing stuff out there. And
I think
you're going to write 10 jokes, and a lot of them are going to be crap. So
yeah,
it's like one of them won't be good. So
I think I'm getting to a point now where I'm starting to, when you go through writing a lot, and you go, oh, this is shit. But then the more you write, the more you realize when it's shit, and you go, okay, I'm just getting through a shit period now, and then things start to click, and you start to run. I'm starting to recognize those rhythms and not be as panicked as much anymore.
Yeah.
Because you go through this period of writing, you're like, oh God, I haven't written a joke in fucking
Yeah.
2 weeks, and then it's like, oh, it's starting to click, and then
it's just difficult because you're doing gigs that you're getting paid for, and you don't want to try new stuff at them.
No.
It's that makes it hard. So.
So how do you kind of manage that when you want to try new stuff? Because when I
Quite
have
badly,
something
to be
new, what?
Quite badly too.
You had some good stuff tonight. Some of the new stuff landed.
Yeah, the problem is, that's the thing. Like, you really need to be like, I'm doing this new gig tonight and a new gig tomorrow. And I guess if those things work, often what you'll do is like you'll be doing 2 or 3 gigs at the weekend, proper gigs at the weekend, and then you'll have like a couple of new material spots in the week, and they're just short 5 or 10 minute spots, and then I don't know, it's hard to kind of keep the momentum of that.
Yeah.
And the next week you might not be doing any new material gigs or whatever.
Yeah.
So you need to get consistently out there, making sure you're on top of that new stuff coming through. Because I could have done that tonight, and then it might have just been the way I was messing around on stage that made it funny, and then I'll do it the next time.
And it doesn't.
And stuff can kind of work in these smaller gigs that won't necessarily transfer to a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they'll be like, oh, this is the standard of the show's higher.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll be on an open mic or whatever, and it's just like the fact that you've
They're
got a professional air about you, and you seem confident, and you're just like, oh, like, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then, but that won't really fly on a weekend. Like, they won't just be. So, yeah, it's it is really, really hard, I think, to generate new stuff. I think, but it's fun as well. It's nice when you get a new joke, but.
When do you feel like when do you feel like a bit has got, like, what do you have to put a new bit through before you go, okay, this has got something to it?
I think it needs to work consistently for at least like 3 to 5 times. Like, you need to do that joke, and then once it starts to work in a few new material gigs, you're like, well, let's try this in a paid or proper gig.
Yeah.
And then when that works, then you can be like, well, this can stay now.
When do you open with? When you're like, fuck it.
Nah, I wouldn't. Never. I've had the same opening joke for a long time because it's really quick and easy. So,
yeah.
But in terms of, I haven't changed opening joke for ages. So yeah, but opening with a newish joke is a risky maneuver.
It's not the move, I don't think.
Nah, not at all. But it's hard to get an opening joke. So once you've got one, you should.
Yeah, you hold on to it.
Hold on to that.
Yeah.
Especially if it's quick, like mine is really like.
I've never seen it not work.
Gary, you probably tell my accent. I'm an alcoholic. Yeah. Not a clever joke, easy joke, old joke, but
fuck it.
It takes 10 seconds and it gets a laugh and you're off and you can do whatever you want after.
But
that.
Again,
especially when you're abroad. I don't do that in Scotland, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, could do, but I don't. It's not going to work as well. I mean, sometimes if you're in, like, I've done it before in Edinburgh, Monkey Bar or whatever. It's a really English crowd or whatever.
Yeah.
It works, and it might do okay. But yeah, it's a Scottish joke outside of Scotland, really.
Yeah.
But it just kind of, you're off. It generally won't work, and then you can just do anything else after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't do it in the whole Edinburgh Festival, so I don't need to do it. But
no. And okay, so the Bald Man Sings Rihanna.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one. That's the big one.
That's the one.
How did that start? How, like, it's a fucking great title.
Thank you. Terrible show, great title. Terrible show, but great title.
I've only seen little bits. I haven't actually got to see it yet because
That's coming to YouTube. So
is it?
Yeah, I've did the show in Palmerston North on Saturday, and it was like 100 people, and they had a proper camera set up. So
yeah,
it's
man,
quite good. Yeah, it's quite a good. It looks pretty, because I'm pretty lazy in terms of like things like that. But it just happened that they had a camera, and it this will be good. So
I did a set there last week, and they filmed it as well. They have a really good setup there, and they've good guys building the scene there.
Yeah,
and they're doing it really, and I really appreciate it. Like, they're like, oh geez, they had two cameras set up. I was like, fuck, great, and I was able to use some of it, which is
I was really happy with it. I watched it last night, and I was really happy. So I'm gonna see if I can get people to watch it and throw us a $5 or whatever.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah.
Have you looked like? Do you do much stuff online in terms of promoting yourself or building? No.
Nah, I don't really. don't really do that, to be honest. I've eventually set up a Facebook page after 10 years or whatever, but yeah, it's not my thing. I just like doing it. I just like performing in clubs and gigs and mainly fringe festivals, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just doing the Rihanna show thus far and trying to find another show to do. But yeah, I don't really want an audience. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? But I want people to come and watch the show, but I don't necessarily want to build up a...
You don't want to be like a personality. You just want people to...
Nah, I don't want to be famous. I just want to do live shows and have fun and make people laugh and make me laugh and have fun. Like, But I do recognize that that's the only way you could properly make money out of it. Is by building this crowd behind you. I mean, you can still do okay on the club gigs or whatever, and it's nice. But to be a proper successful, and it's not even about being the best comedian. It's been about being great online and pulling people in. People have done that, but yeah, I just kind of enjoy it and just see where it takes me, and it's taken me all around the world. So I'm so happy with how it's went. So.
Yeah, like you strike me as a purist in that sense. Like you're happy with just and I don't mean to like denigrate, but like you're just happy doing the act and happy for people to come see that and putting it out there and be like, hey, look, you'll enjoy it when you see it. You have fun doing it, and I think people are attracted to that. And you get booked fucking a lot since you've come over here, and like the word is traveling quite fast around here. With I tried to look you up online and found fuck all. So
right, there's a few videos on YouTube.
I found one. I think it was in Canada. From 2016,
one from Caroline's, which is quite good.
I haven't seen that one.
Caroline's is one of the best clubs in the world. So
Yeah,
I don't have much online. No, because I mean, when I book gigs in, it'll be people will see me at gigs, or I'll send them my stuff and then see what gigs I've done. But I don't have much of a presence online because I don't seek to be famous, and I don't seek to have. I don't really want to be a personality that I don't like the whole stuff on Twitter and all that. Like, obviously, it's good that people who are doing bad things are getting stuff about them and that, but it's not so much that. But it's just and I don't want people to know about me. Like, it's not something I seek. If it did happen, because I ended up getting on TV or whatever through so if someone came and said, "Do you want to do live at the Apollo? The money's really good, and it's doing a stand-up set," I would say yes.
So if anyone watching,
I would do a gig in a barn. I mean, I've done gigs in buses and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So comedians don't turn down gigs, but for me, it's not about building. I just don't want people to.
So how do you balance doing as many, wanting to do as many shows and being a pro comedian?
Yeah.
And being a pro comedian to not trying to build your profile in a marketing sense. Well, because you seem to be doing good. You seem to be doing really well.
But that's not how the circuit works. The circuit, you doing the club circuit and doing gigs, you don't need to be an online or famous. And it used to be the case where you didn't have to have any. You could just be known as a club comedian. And back in the day, it was like you would make your money. And that was the time you start. It was like the early 90s. So David Baddiel said it was like his third gig. He was getting paid spots at the Comedy Store. So it takes you 15 years now to get things like that.
Yeah,
it's a career's path. But because there were so few comedians, and there was a huge comedy circuit in the UK, and people get gigged 4 or 5 times a night in London, for proper, I don't know, probably decent money for each gig, and then you could make a living just from doing that.
Yeah,
so that's not so much a thing anymore.
That's
but you can still make a decent little bit of money. Which can get you by just doing club gigs and just being someone who's consistent, who goes out there and makes the audience laugh, and he's like, this guy's good, but he's not going to be. You don't have to be famous for that.
Yeah.
You don't have to have an audience, but that is less and less of a thing now.
Yeah,
it's much harder to do that. There's less gigs. There's more comedians. So to really break out now and make a comfortable living out of it, you kind of do need to do that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I don't necessarily seek that.
It's something. You reminded me of something. You know Dylan Moran, the Irish comic.
Yeah, I'm much better than him. Yeah,
Wait,
he's great. Yeah, he's amazing.
He spoke. He was on the Distraction Pieces podcast. You know Scroobius Pip.
I don't know.
Oh, well, it's a good podcast. And
Yeah.
Dylan Moran was on it, and he was like, "Oh, I just started doing it, and I could realize I could make money from it in London." So he was like, "Oh, I needed to pay rent, so I go to a spot here, get paid 20
Right.
quid, another spot here, 20
Yeah.
quid," and that's how we started. It wasn't like it was again. It was like there was a circuit there
Yeah.
that you could make 80 quid in a night from just doing 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there,
Yeah.
10 minutes there, and like that seems to be gone. I think there's still a bit of that in New York, where.
No, I'd say New York's really like you can certainly do a spot here, spot there, but they pay bugger all.
Yeah.
So London, I think, was better than New
Yeah.
York in that sense.
For that-
It's
for that
still
sense.
there. I mean, you can still do that in London, but not to the extent that you could.
You couldn't make it's fucking hard enough to live in London on if you have a full-time job, let alone.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously the Comedy Store plays quite well, and like
Yeah.
the 99 Club and all that play alright. So if you do like 2 or 3 of them a night, and you've got other things going on, but yeah, it's difficult. There's not that many as many gigs anymore, and
Yeah,
the money has also not changed in forever. So
hasn't changed.
nah, but the money was good back in the day, but it's like it's still the same. So it's not inflated. So
Yeah, it wasn't.
'cause it's like you can pay. I was having this conversation with someone the other day. You can pay someone like I don't know $50 for a 10-minute spot, but
Yeah.
because that is not a professional spot. But the money would have to. You couldn't then double that into a 20-minute spot, because if you're doing a 20-minute spot, that is a professional spot.
That's yeah.
So $100 is not enough to sustain you as a professional comedian. So if you're doing a 20-minute spot, you should be either professional or a good semi-professional. So you'd be expecting to make a reasonable money from that. With
Yeah.
a 10-minute spot, it's like, oh, you're getting on a bit, and we'll give you a little bit of money, but
Yeah.
it's not someone who would be making a living.
We're closing the show. We're making
Yeah, they
decent
they'd be a
amount.
bit up and coming act.
Yeah.
So but once it gets to 20-minute spot, you need to be someone who's
You need to be Oh,
depending on the club or whatever. But
Yeah.
depends on which gig it was. But
Yeah, I think here it's interesting to see what you're doing here, because there isn't much of a circuit here.
yeah, I mean, I've kind of done the circuit gigs, and Wellington seems to be quite. It's weird, Wellington. That there's only random gigs. There's no like. I know that it seems to be getting a bit better the moment that Jerome started. The Wellington
That's
Comedy-
completely new.
Yeah, and that's great. So hopefully that can become a thing. Because one thing that I think this place totally lacks is it's got such a good Fringe Festival, and
Yeah.
I believe that the Comedy Fest is really good as well. Like the Fringe Festival, I'm getting 60, 70 people, which is amazing.
Yeah.
It's really good. Shouldn't be telling people about that, because it's such a great thing, the NZ Fringe Festival, and because I'm doing shows in Perth or whatever, and I do okay there,
Mm-hmm.
but I get double the people here because there's just not the same amount of competition.
No.
Which is great. But in it, so you can see that in the shows that Bats are selling out, and I'm doing well, and then Alex Love's doing well. So you know that people want to see live comedy here.
Yeah.
And then there's no comedy club. But it looks like things are really good. Clubs are doing really well at the moment because of everyone's come out of lockdown and they
Yeah.
want to go out. So hopefully that can sustain. But it feels like Wellington should have a comedy club.
I think that the Thursday night comedy club is kind of it came in to replace, because they're doing the Raw Quest,
Yeah.
right, which we just found out is the semis is going to be in September,
Right.
so it's got a long way to go. So the Thursday night used to be an open mic in the Cavern Club
Yeah.
and another open mic in Ivy. Too small, you look if you get 40 people between the two of them.
Right.
But now that there's a big event like on the Thursday night, it's great to see, like, because
Part of it might be that they've got kind of lucky with the acts, because I know that James and Nakisi and Laura Davis have got stuck here, for
Yeah.
example. They should be in London at the moment,
Well,
but yeah,
well-
hopefully that helms it build.
I think so, and I think a lot of the acts we're very lucky at the moment, because we're able to do stand up where the rest of the world is pretty much still in lockdown.
Yeah.
And it's even having like yourself here, even in like quarantine.
Yeah.
It's good. It's interesting for me especially to meet comedians from abroad, but who are touring here,
Mm-hmm.
where we wouldn't have had the chance to do this
No, it's been great, and obviously Marty as well, who you met, the
Yeah,
Aussie guy.
yeah,
He got stuck here as well, but he's kind of thinking about moving here anyway. And James and Laura. So I think it's been good that there are more good comedians in New Zealand at the moment because of it. So
yeah.
but it seems to be more people coming out, and people
Way
are really
more
wanting
people
to win
coming out.
gigs.
Man,
So
that show was packed tonight.
yeah, it was
That I think that's the most packed I've ever seen. That is hands down the most packed I've ever seen that room.
every single gig I did last week was sold out.
Yeah,
Every single one, like the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, packed out, really good crowds, and that's awesome, man.
It's great. It's great to see. It's great to see because I was thinking of this during the lockdown. I think
But the comedy, I think, is a great thing to do, and it's cheap.
yeah,
And like I was saying this earlier, like, there's no new films out, no movies out at the moment
No.
that are new. There's no big league shows at like the arenas, so comedy's a good option, and
Mhm.
hopefully it can because it's a cheap thing to do. Like it's like the most expensive. Like for my show at the Cavern, I did it for like $15, which
Yeah.
is really cheap, and
Yeah.
I think is a reasonable price for it.
yeah,
But even like I was like putting my show in, I'm doing a show in Queenstown now.
yeah,
And again, I just did it for $15. It's fine for me. That's enough to make some money on it. And then, but even this Dr. Justine Smith show and that they're doing another show around the corner at Sky City in Queenstown. That was only $30 as well.
yeah.
So I mean, I take it back to UK. It's like that's like 15 quid.
15 quid. Yeah,
But $30 is not. It's like 3 drinks here or something. So,
yeah. It's fucking. Yeah,
So that is like. I think there's a high end show of people who are on TV here, and it's
Yeah.
not much money whatsoever. So
yeah. Like even the show on Thursday nights is $20, and you've got like Melanie. I think Melanie's headlining it, and she's on TV like
yeah,
like
so
3 or
it's a
4
great-
times a
so
week.
Hopefully, people recognise that it's a really good thing to do, and yeah, because I feel like New Zealand, it's been strange here that like the South Island is like there's just nothing. Like I mean, they're trying to set up there is like no like there's one comedy club in Christchurch, which is a small new comedy club that they're trying to get going.
Yeah,
Dunedin is really little stuff, and these are places like 150,000. I think Christchurch is bigger than Wellington actually, in terms of population.
is it?
It's bigger. That surprised me when I found that out. But yes,
I was in Christchurch and there was nothing there. There was
well, there was the earthquake.
there
so
was the
you know,
earthquake. Yeah,
whatever.
there was. I was there. I've seen the
No, it's
the
pretty
after
spread
effects.
out though.
It
There's
is, yeah.
quite spread out, lots of suburbs and stuff, and that must be what does that. So yeah, there's a bigger population in Wellington.
Okay,
so
I thought Wellington had a bigger population because it's so strange that the South Island has like 1 million people on it in it. That's
Yeah.
the population, and it's fucking huge.
yeah, it's a very spread out place, population wise. But yeah, there is but 1 million still a lot of people that can sustain comedy clubs. So I don't understand why. I understand it just hasn't quite reached here, and it has never quite. Obviously, Scott's got the classic up in Auckland, which has
Auckland,
been
yeah.
successful. But
Yeah,
hopefully, in the next 15 years, or hopefully before that, hopefully next few years, that properly Wellington's going to have an ongoing scene
yeah,
that people can. And just back to what you were saying about us being here and the other acts being here, it is kind of difficult because there's a limited pool of comedians here.
yeah,
So and even there's a lot of acts in Australia, and I don't. It doesn't seem to be that they come over here and do gigs here. I'm
No,
sure that now
no.
and then some of them do the classic, but you would think that. I mean, I was just thinking of if I decide. I thought that opening a comedy club here would be great. What you could be doing is get people to do the classic one week and then come here the next week, and then if
Yeah.
there was one in Christchurch, they could go there. So you could make a proper good tour of it.
Yeah.
And even all these like towns like Palmerston North are like up for stuff. So
but yeah, I think that's giving people. I think it's giving people a lot of confidence to set up shows.
Yeah.
Now they're seeing people are coming out to them, and I think some of my friends says like, why wouldn't you go to a comedy show? It's like it's guaranteed laughter. Well,
I'm not sure.
Not-
all the shows
not-
I've been
but-
to guaranteed laughter.
it's not. But you're paying for a good time. In the general, it could be hit and miss
Well, I think that
on a night.
it used to be it used to be that a lot of club towns, and there still are some places like the Stand that people won't go to. Just they won't necessarily know any of the comedians that are on,
Yeah,
and they'll just be like, that's a good comedy club. But every time I go there, it's really good.
yeah,
But the problem is a lot of people want to go and watch like Michael McIntyre.
Yeah.
And that's what they see stand up as, and they're not trained to go to a comedy club.
To
And
just-
they're like, oh, we don't know who these people are. They're probably crap.
yeah,
So that's a mentality you need to kind of get rid
You
of.
get-
But,
yeah.
but it used to be a lot of really. There still are really good comedy clubs, but that is a thing that's out there that people want to see those big names. But I mean, obviously, all of those big names were in these clubs.
Yeah.
If you go to a good comedy club, it's a great night out.
Oh yeah.
It's a great night out, and I see. And for me, it's going to be cheaper than going to see someone like that, and you're going to see 4 or 5 different people, and so you're like, that's what I used to love about going to comedy clubs. I used to go to like one in Ealing, which a lot of famous people came out of, and it's like you get 4 or 5. You might not love every one of them, but usually they were all really good. But
Yeah.
it's like you get a different perspective each of different
Yeah.
different people, in which is where you go to see one person. It's like, well, that's that. I mean, if it's Billy Connolly or whatever, and there's definitely some people that are worth going to see on their own. But I think a comedy club is a great night out. But
I think it is. I think you paid 10 quid in. You got 5 acts. You know, they're each are worth £2.
yeah, for sure.
you know,
Yeah.
if you look at it like that, you pay $10 in, you've got 5 acts. You're like, he was worth. You know, I got $2 worth of laughter out of him, or
Yeah.
memory. You know of how bad it was. You know, it's cheaper than the cinema.
Yeah, generally it's cheaper than the cinema. But yeah, the cinema. Thing about the cinema has huge marketing budgets behind it.
Yeah.
Lots of adverts, whereas comedy doesn't have that.
Yeah,
so
and then better looking people, to be fair, in the cinema, on the screen.
maybe not Steve Buscemi films.
No, maybe not Steve.
Yeah.
I want to touch on one thing, just in your act.
Yeah.
Do you talk much about yourself?
No, not really.
No,
I don't tell much about myself off stage either. To be fair, no, I don't. It's not why It's not something I've delved into yet.
Yeah.
So it's not something that I would say I would never do. But I just like to have fun on stage, and
Yeah.
I don't really like to.
Well,
give
I
a
think
lot away,
it makes sense with your approach to like not marketing. If
Yeah.
you know, it's like you're doing it just for the jokes.
Yeah,
if that
so
makes
I like
sense.
to tell jokes, and yeah, there's obviously my personality does come out with
Yeah.
that, but yeah, it's not a place for me to download baggage onto an audience and
Yeah.
and get onto them. A lot of comedians will do that, and they're great at it, but I'm just there to have fun and make the audience have a good time. But it's definitely something that is potentially well look at as the years go by, and maybe I will do sort of honest shows or whatever. But
Well,
for me, it's just that's not the sort of comedian I've became.
yeah,
Tell jokes.
and you, yeah. So some
I know, it's
comedians don't tell
Mental,
jokes.
isn't it? Absolutely crazy thing. Yeah, crazy thing. To do
How did that happen?
But yeah, I mean, I don't think you necessarily have to go out and say all these personal things about you to be yourself.
No.
So I think like Billy Connolly goes out and tells all these great stories, but it doesn't necessarily talk all about his relationships and things like that. And then
Yeah.
you've got there's a lot of comedians don't do it. So
Yeah.
Frankie Boyle, you don't really
No.
get to know much about him.
No.
He says the odd bits and bobs about his kids or whatever, but they don't even seem to be real within the jokes. So
Yeah,
they're just kind of
yeah.
like Jimmy Carr as well. So yeah, I'm a joke teller at this point, but yeah. Maybe one day I will decide to do like an.
Well, it's interesting. Just like it's one of the things I find really interesting about
I feel like I'm myself on stage, so I don't.
you. Are
think-
100%. You're
Like-
yourself, and
yeah,
but it's. I think you get your perspective
yeah,
of things,
yeah,
but
yeah,
you're
yeah.
not. But what I'm doing, you're not talking about like your personal life.
Nah, it's not something I really want to talk about in front of people.
No, and that's what I love about like stand up is that someone can talk about like their day and it can be the funniest thing ever, and someone can talk about like a movie they've seen or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
and it's equally funny, and it's just I think you get to see people's personality or a projection of that
yeah.
on stage.
Well, there's all sorts of different comedians.
Yeah.
isn't there? So there's doing different things. So I guess that because of Edinburgh, where you have like Hannah Gadsby type shows, that people want to see that as well. But
Yeah.
it's not what I do
No,
at this
no,
point. And
yeah,
I don't see that it would be something that I would become my shtick or whatever. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
might think, I'll go to Edinburgh and do a show. But I don't see it really. I don't think for me it's where I would do that sort of thing.
cool,
Uh,
cool, yeah,
Sweet.
sweet. Well,
Yeah.
I think we're probably done around now because it's getting kind of late.
Right. What time is it?
I don't know. Was it
10 to 11.
10 to 11? Yeah, we've done about an hour, Gary. So
Well, it's been fun. Yeah, I could talk for longer, but awesome, mate. Thanks, buddy. Bye.
cheers. Thank you.